We will warm up. So let's read, I'm assuming this is 50s. Okay, so let's read in 19s to begin. Not, I don't mean that. Let's read.
I was like,
I don't mean that at all. Let's read 16s. That will be 190.
oh, okay.
That's what I have the, anyway,
I was like,
I just said
class is this?
So, I don't know. I get confused when we stay in the same room.
Yeah.
Okay. So, hey, why don't you question? I think I was questioning last week. Do you remember?
I don't remember. Where are we starting?
Oh, why don't you go ahead?
Oh, right there. Okay.
Yeah.
16. Okay, this begins with a question for the record. So you had a back pain all those years and you first saw a chiropractor in 2003 and that was Dr. King. Who was treating your husband? Is that right?
Yes.
Did something happen to make you decide to go to Dr. King, like it suddenly got worse or?
No. I was in there with my husband and he said, you lay down on this table and let me look at you. When he looked at me, he said, oh my God, you are a freak. You need to see the chiropractor. Well, my husband was driving from from Seattle to Mount Vernon for his treatments. And so I said, well, you recommend one in Seattle that we could go to. So that is when I started going to Dr. Reschke.
Have you seen Dr. Reschke fairly regularly, say more than 4 times a year since 2003?
Yes, I saw him day before yesterday.
About how often in 2003 through 2013 did you see him?
How many times?
If you remember.
How many times?
About.
I'd have to get my bills to look them up because I had him $400 when I had this accident. I went about every other day for a long time.
Now, before the accident, though, you were seeing him very often?
Not very often, just whenever my back would get stiff and all uptight. You get nervous, and I would go, and he'd give me a treatment.
More than 3 or 4 times a year?
No.
Less than 3 or 4 times a year?
I'd go about once every 3 months or something like that.
Then you had this accident, and then you started going more often?
Oh, yes. Frequent visitor ever since. Now, he has got a substitute doctor who does work on me, but I can't tell you what his name is.
He works in the same office?
Yes.
Okay. We are still dealing now with before the accident. Are there any other illnesses or physical complaints that you had?
No.
That is it?
Right.
Your neck, your back, the diabetes, the toes?
That's right.
This accident occurred on March 15, 2013, and I'd like for you to draw a picture showing me the street you were on and the location of all the cars or vehicles that you can remember just prior to the time that you swerved your car just before anybody knew anything was going to happen.
That was a fast one, I'll tell you.
They all are when they happen.
Let's say this is the street I was coming up, which was Greenwood, and let's say this is my car here. I was headed straight up this way, and I looked, and it was about, he was 30 or 40 feet, the bus was coming. He was coming down this way. Well, I seen him swerve over here and get in my lane. He was coming right on, headed into me. Well, naturally, I swerved over to get out of the big bus's way because he'd make a pancake out of me. Well, I swerved over here and I cut my car back. It kind of tilted up this way, but I pulled my wheels back and I think, well, I can straighten my car up. I didn't lose my cool. I didn't get nervous. I didn't get scared. When I went to pull my car back, this other car that was coming up behind me, it was a man and his wife, and he had an old car of some kind, didn't have no brakes or nothing else. He said my car, the bumper of my car, caught the front headlight of his car and tore it off, but you can see where he hit the fender. She has got pictures where he hit the side of my car along about here, and he sent me into a tailspin. And there was a telephone pole standing right here. So when I cut my car over, I pulled it over this way. And, you know, as to my knowledge, he hit my car, sent it into a tailspin, and wrapped me around this telephone pole. and I hit one of these great big iron mailboxes sitting out here and knocked it out here to the middle of the street. The bus kept going, did not stop, but one of the men took out after him and run him down, got his name and the number, the tag off of the bus so we'd know who he was.
I'd like you to put a number 1 by your car, and I'd like you to put an X by the place where the bus was when you first saw it.
Well, that gets awful close, but we will say, gee, I can still see him. It would be 30 or 40 feet.
Was he already on your side of the road when you first saw him?
Yes, he was over the yellow line coming into me.
Where is the yellow line in this picture?
Well, I am using this as the yellow line.
You are using these 2 red marks on the paper as your yellow line?
Yes, that is where it all happened, on this line. But he didn't, like I say, he didn't stop. He just kept going. But then
The first time you saw the bus, he was already across the yellow line. Is that true?
Yes, and this guy coming behind me, he ran up to my car and told me, he said, "Don't you worry, I seen that bus come across that line and come into you."
Did you see any other traffic moving in the same direction as the bus?
No.
Did you see the bus before he crossed the yellow line?
Well, let's go 15.
Okay.
I was just driving and looking, and naturally I did see the bus, and then over he went.
So you first saw him just before he crossed the yellow line?
Yes.
When he was 30 or 40 feet away from you?
Ahead of me.
Is that right?
Right.
How fast were you going?
Oh, about 30 miles an hour because it is a 30 or 35 mile zone.
Are you able to guess how fast the bus might have been going?
No, that would be impossible for me to say how fast the bus was going.
Were you impressed that it might be going especially slowly or especially fast?
No, just normally, I suppose. Nobody was driving fast.
The car that you have described as being behind you, were you aware of that car behind you prior to the accident?
No,
Do you know if it was in the same lane you were in or the lane next to you?
in the lane next to me.
You found that out afterwards, or you knew it at that time?
Found it out afterwards.
I understand from your description then that car struck the left rear side
Right.
of your car.
Right.
Where were you headed that evening?
Home.
From where?
Well, I'd been out to lunch and I had left my car at Manning's and I went with my husband on a Model T tour. A whole bunch had a luncheon. He dropped me off. I picked my car up and I was following him, or thought I was.
Did he see the accident?
No, he stopped by a little grocery store down there and I thought I was following him. He had his car on a trailer and I was just driving along, and so when I had the accident, I sit in the car a long time and they tried to get me to get out and I wouldn't get out. And so then when I finally did, brushing off the glass away and stuff, I was wearing a wig. I put that back on and I got out and I was talking to the policeman and I looked and I saw him coming up the street. Boy, was I glad to see him. I think that is the gladdest I have ever been to see him coming.
Your car was struck by the car that had been behind you?
Yes.
And it struck a telephone pole?
Wrapped me around right at the front.
Did you hit, or were you hit by anything else?
No.
Just the two?
Just the two cars.
Do you remember if your body struck anything in the car? Did you hit the steering wheel or?
No, didn't hit the steering wheel, other than it drove this door in so far that it hit this hip right here. It has bucket seats. It knocked me over. This arm hit the other bucket seat hard enough that it drove it over to that side of the car. Let's get the lights on.
Oh, that hasn't happened in a
I
long
know, and
time.
I thought we had enough people in the class to keep the lights on. Huh. Okay. Well, all right. We'll hope they stay on longer now. Okay. So yes.
Same speed.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Answer the question for the record. You hit the seat hard enough so that the seat was moved. Is that what you are saying?
You see, I had bucket seats, and then when the door come in here and it hit my hip bone, it threw me over against this other bucket seat hard enough that it knocked it loose from the floor and it hit the other door on the other side.
So the left door struck your left hip and pushed you so your right arm hit the bucket seat?
Hit the other seat.
I understand. Your head wasn't struck in any way?
No, no.
Did you feel any particular sensation at that time in your back or neck, the time of either one of those impacts?
Not right then, but after a while, when feeling come back to me, it did, and my legs were black and blue from here down to right here. It drove them so hard together, and that wasn't too long after I'd had my surgery, and I was so afraid that it had broken this plastic blood vein in my leg. I was scared to death the next morning when it was black. That is when I went back to Dr. Jones at Providence, and he said I wouldn't have to worry about that. So I didn't have to go back. It cleared up, and it didn't do any damage to that.
I understand that somebody called an ambulance to the scene, but that you didn't think that you needed to use it.
Right.
And in fact, it really was the next morning before you decided you should go see a doctor.
Yes.
So you went home with your husband?
Yes, he took me home.
And the car that you were driving was a 2003 Toyota?
02.
02 Toyota, which you purchased when?
04.
And the purchase price?
It was 18. I bought it for $18,000.
You had driven it then from 2004 until the time of the accident, and I gather it wasn't worth repairing.
Not after the bus got through with me, because I bent the frame all up.
How did you dispose of the car?
My husband just parted it out, a piece here and a piece there, because we took it home and set it in the driveway. I told him to move that car and get it where I couldn't see it.
Did you finally sell it for scrap or something?
Yes.
How much did you sell it for?
I think we got around $1,400 for the different parts, the different ones.
You had two cars at the time?
No, my husband had a truck. No, I didn't.
Have you since replaced that car?
Yes.
When did you buy a different car?
That happened in March, April, May. I guess it is in June, July, something like that.
Did you rent a car in the meantime?
No,
Just used the truck?
just stayed home.
How long have you had a driver's license?
All my life, since I was old enough to get one.
You have been driving since you were old enough to drive?
Yes,
You had a driving license since you were old enough to get one?
yes.
You currently have a driver's license?
Uh-huh.
Can I see it?
That is the first accident I have ever had, and I have driven across the whole United States and everywhere.
That is your first accident ever?
Right.
Is that your lucky penny? I would like to be able to write the driver's license down, so I'd like to ask you to take it out.
That penny is, I just picked it up in the summertime and stuck it down in there.
This is your first accident. Have you ever had a ticket or a moving violation?
No, never had. Yes, I'll take that back. I got one. I went to Mount Vernon and I parked my car to run across the street and pay my house rent, and I wasn't gone a bit over 5 minutes. Come back, had a ticket on the windshield. I got mad and wouldn't pay it. It would have been only $50 if I paid it then, but I let it go and it cost me $500, but I never have had a ticket.
Thank you. Do you ever wear contacts?
No.
Did you have your glasses on at the time of the accident?
Yes.
Were your glasses broken in the accident?
No.
What is the eye problem that causes you to need corrective lenses?
Well, I got a weak eye. My left eye is, but I'm farsighted. I can see a way out better than I can see up close. I have never had no problem in getting a license.
Have you ever had, or are you aware of any problem with your depth perception?
With what?
Depth perception, telling how close things are to you and how far away.
No, I don't have any problem. So how's that going? Yeah. I don't know if we want to keep going. She's a kid, huh?
Wig.
It's just
Something
kind of
else.
fun. I don't know. There's a few things that she said was kind of fun. There's yeah. All right. So shall we speed up? Just asking you preference. That's 200. So I mean, it's going along pretty good. I mean, but it's not like super difficult material.
Right,
So.
it's clicking along pretty good, but it's not like really challenging.
Yeah. So why don't we speed this up? Then we'll switch over and do something else. And I don't know if that's particularly challenging. Maybe we'll hope the takes aren't particularly challenging. Because I have, and then I have something else that has dates that need correcting that I haven't corrected yet. So hopefully I got all these dates changed, but it's still kind of funky material. Okay, so 14s now.
Okay, begins with the question. The morning after the accident, then you were sore and black and blue and very concerned about your prior surgery, and you went to see your doctor. Which doctor was that?
Dr. Jones?
He is the doctor, I understand, who performed the surgery.
Yes,
Were you able to see him that very next day?
yes,
Did he perform an examination?
yes.
What did he examine? Every part of you?
Yeah, and he said it was okay, that I didn't have anything to worry about, that it would clear up.
The black and blue on your legs?
Yes.
Did he say anything about your back or neck?
No, because I never had complained to him of my back or neck, because he was a surgeon.
Did you tell him at all that they hurt that day?
No,
Did they hurt that day?
my back did, yes.
You didn't mention it?
Not to him.
Did you see then somebody else for your back?
I went to my chiropractor.
This is Dr. Reschke.
Reschke, Reschke. I called him Risky. One day he said, that isn't my name.
When did you see him the first time after the accident about your back?
Well, I went the second day after I had the accident. That would have been the 21st, I guess.
What did you complain about to him?
My back and my neck.
Do you remember how you described it or what your symptoms were?
Well, I told him it had hit me here and it had knocked it out so way back so I couldn't move. And well, I already had a back ailment which bothered me at times, and he said this accident really aggravated it because it knocked it all over out of whack.
You are indicating, I think, behind your lower portion of your back.
Lower portion of my back.
That is, I understand, where the degenerative disc problem is also in the lower portion of your back.
Right.
What was it with your neck?
Well, my neck was hurt when I was young, and like I say, the growths are grown on the side of my neck, and then bones never did go back in where they belonged. So the accident didn't have anything to do with my neck. I mean, it didn't, other than tighten it where I can't turn it.
Did you ever see a medical doctor about your back or neck after the accident?
No.
Have you discussed your back and neck with Dr. Sinai at all?
No, the medical doctors and chiropractor doctors, they don't get along. So what one tells me, I don't go ahead. I don't tell the other one. I'd like to, but.
You first saw the chiropractor March 21, and then I'd like you to describe the course of treatment you had afterwards. How often you went back, what he did, just for the next few days.
You have never been to a chiropractor, have you? Well, they lay you down for a little on a little table, and you put your hands down and they pop your back. You can hear it pop, goes back in place. It makes a terrible racket.
How often did you go see him after the original visit on March 21?
I went twice a week.
For how long?
I don't know how long it was. I went $4,000 worth. I know that.
Then you quit?
Yes.
Why was that?
I couldn't afford to go.
Did he say he wouldn't treat you if you didn't pay his bill?
No, he didn't.
It was your decision. You felt uncomfortable because it was too expensive?
Right. I figured I'd suffer rather than to have to pay it, I guess.
Do you have medical insurance?
Yes.
Did you apply for benefits from your medical insurance? Did you attempt to get this chiropractor bill paid in the fashion?
Well, I sent it to Blue Shield, and I think they paid it. They paid some on it, but I don't remember. It has been so long.
How about Medicare? Are you eligible for Medicare?
Yes.
Did you try to get some of this paid through?
That went through Blue Shield.
That went through Blue Shield?
Yes.
And you think that some portion of the bill was paid by Blue Shield?
Yes, I'd have to look it up when I got back home.
Do you remember approximately when you last saw Dr. Reschke?
It was about 2 weeks ago.
What did you see him for?
Just a general checkup, my blood pressure.
The chiropractor?
No, I thought you said Dr. Sinai. You said Dr. Reschke?
I meant to say Dr. Reschke. When did you last see Dr. Reschke?
Oh, I went day before yesterday. See, I can't move my legs. I have to hobble, and I can't. When I go over there to the chiropractor, I can move my legs then, but I can't maneuver them until he straightens them out.
So you saw him about your legs?
Yes.
After you quit seeing Dr. Reschke, because you decided you couldn't afford it, how long was it approximately until you saw him again?
About 3 months.
And that would have been about when?
It was back, I can't give you a date, but it would have been the winter following the accident.
No, that you started again.
Oh, well, I never did completely quit. You see, I went to see him all along when I get hurting so bad that I couldn't stand it any longer. And one of my legs gets longer than the other one, and he has to jerk it back in place.
Do you think that this problem with your leg is related to the back injury from this accident?
No.
You told me earlier you saw Dr. Sinai 2 weeks ago just for a general checkup.
Yes.
Did you have any particular problems when you went to see him this last time?
No, just a checkup.
Have you seen Dr. Sinai at all since March of 2012 for a particular problem, or has it just been for checkups?
Just my diabetes and blood pressure, just keeping a check on, but they were okay.
So basically, you never really asked Dr. Sinai to treat you for your injuries from this accident. You are relying on Dr. Reschke. Is that fair?
Yes.
Any other doctor besides Dr. Reschke that you are consulting?
No, other than his assistant that works in his office. It is all the same thing.
Has anybody prescribed any physical therapy for you, exercises?
No.
At this moment, sitting here in my office, do you have any problems? Are you experiencing any problems with your back?
No,
How about your neck?
no.
Yesterday, did you feel any problems with your neck or back?
My back, yes.
What were the circumstances?
I couldn't bend. I was in terrible pain all day yesterday.
When that happens, what do?
I got a vibrating chair I sit in.
Does that help?
Yes.
Do you take or have you taken in the last year or so any kind of pain relieving medication?
No, I don't. No.
No? Is that because you don't want medication?
They don't allow you to.
The chiropractor doesn't allow you to?
Right.
When you had your surgery with Dr. Jones, you did take some pain medication when you came home?
I imagine so, yes.
When you came home, did you?
Yes.
But you have never asked Dr. Sinai for any pain medication?
Yes, he gave it to me through Dr. Jones after I came home.
Connected with the surgery and that?
Right.
But since had this accident, you have gone along with Dr. Reschke and not even asked for any pain medication, is that right?
Oh, yes. Dr. Sinai has given me pain medication all along for pains in my legs and in my back. But I ain't allowed to tell Dr. Reschke that I took a pain pill.
But you do take it when Dr. Sinai says to?
Yes.
Does anybody besides Dr. Sinai prescribe any medications for you?
No.
Do you find the pain pills or the vibrating chair more effective when your back hurts?
The chair, because I haven't taken any pain pills for quite a long time.
Does Dr. Sinai even know that you were in this accident last March?
Oh, yes.
The bills I have that you and your attorney gave me earlier so that your medical expenses are just Dr. Reschke, and they are $4,320.51. Are they greater than that now? Have they increased since the summer it was given to me?
Other than what I have been to him, I have been to him several trips.
Dr. Reschke,
Yes, I don't know how many.
have you turned those bills over to your attorneys?
Have I done what?
Have you turned those bills over to your attorneys, the ones that you have had since?
No. What was the funny thing that made us laugh?
What was that?
Okay, I don't know.
It's about
So-
8. Back when you said 8.
When they said the $50 and it went up to $500 or something like that.
Well, this is such old material. It used to say $5 and it went up to $50. And so I just added zeros. 500 might be a little steep, but things do go up if you don't pay them. Maybe we should just switch. I mean, there's not very much left. Are you wearing out?
Can I go to the water fountain real quick?
No, fine.
Okay, thanks.
Wearing out, getting tired, no? Yes?
I was tired, and enjoy your voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. And so now it's like, oh,
Now we're just surviving.
I see. Well, we'll do a little
I hear
more
ya.
speed push and then we'll do do this and takes. But we'll switch material. This is this shooting incident with Kevin and Scott and
Oh.
Chris. Was he
The
one of
potato
them?
one?
And when there's a potato, yeah.
Potato.
Potato on the gun, I guess. using-
Oh, using it as a silencer.
Yeah, I watched TV. Oh, no, maybe it's different material. Well, no, maybe Joel, we're talking about getting, what was the terminology they were talking about? Not
Oh, Jack.
Jack. Oh, there it is. Jack someone. Yeah. That's right. Okay.
They're getting Jack. Gonna
Yeah.
Jack.
Jack. Okay, so we're I guess we're gonna start here. Or let's let's go ahead and start up here. And then maybe I'll turn pages this way. Just because I have to watch
Oh, you want
I mean, I'll
over
just-
here
I'll
and I
just-
could move?
I don't know if you'd rather do it.
I don't mind if you like taking your watch up here.
No, up here. And then, because I have to hold it if it's going to be over here. Okay, we'll do a little more, speed push. We'll keep it at 14s.
I hope that was
Is it a
something that
bug?
hope it wasn't a floater. Hopefully it was.
Oh, and I
I'm
do
like-
that sometimes. It's like,
I think
what
it
is
was a
that?
bug.
It's like, oh, I think it's just, spots in front of my eyes, or it's something on my glasses, And it's not gonna well. Okay, so, and I should have paused that, sorry for the warm-up tape. We're switching material here, so, but we're gonna still be reading at that same speed, which is about 210.
Okay, begins with a question for the record. And so were you concerned about why Scott was so upset?
No,
Well, he was kind of obsessed with it, wasn't he?
obsessed with it?
Yeah, Kevin that would want to jack you, his friend.
Yeah, because if Kevin says he is going to jack someone, most likely has intentions on doing it.
Okay, and what is your definition of jacking?
Taking what they have on them,
How do you do that? Gun, knife?
however they choose to do it.
Okay, and so did you go to the police about the information?
No, I'm not that type of person.
Okay, so Scott came up with a solution, didn't he?
No,
Well, how many conversations, when you talked to Wes, did you call Scott or did you go over to his house?
I talked to him on the phone first,
How long did you talk to him on the phone?
just a couple minutes.
And then did you go over to his house?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was that day or not, but
Okay, so how many times had you been to his house since you learned that information about Kevin wanting to jack you and March 8th, 03? How many times had you been to Scott's house?
probably a couple times.
2 times?
I'm not sure of the exact amount of times. We are talking about 1.5 years ago.
Well, try to remember.
Maybe 2, 3 times.
Okay, now the first time you went there, did you drive yourself over there?
Yeah,
And what was the purpose for you going over to Scott's house?
just to hang out. He's my friend.
Well, you guys were going to talk about this thing about Kevin wanting to jack you.
Yeah, but it wasn't just specifically to talk about it. I was going over there. It got brought up.
When you were there at the house?
Yeah,
All right, who brought it up?
I probably did. Or him. I'm not sure.
Okay, what was said?
That Kevin wanted to jack me.
What did you say?
Of course.
What did you say to that?
What's that?
What did you say to that? Or you told Scott that, right?
I don't know. It got brought up. Yeah, I told him.
Then what did Scott say?
He said that, I got to do something. And I told him that it wasn't quite to that point, that I wasn't too worried about it because I hadn't heard from Kevin himself.
And then,
I heard from Wes,
okay,
like I said. So I didn't feel that threatened.
this is when Scott told you that it was like you being a duck in a pond. You were just a sitting target, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
That you got to do something, right?
Yeah, that's what he said. But I told him right away that I had no intentions on doing anything about it until I talked to Kevin.
But Scott told you that you should take the initiative and go jack him first before he jacks you, right? That's one of the things he said.
Yeah, and I told him it wasn't necessary at all.
Okay, but he was kind of insistent, wasn't he?
No, after that, that was pretty much the end of that idea.
You guys dropped it?
I did.
Okay, then you smoked together
Yeah.
that day.
We have.
Were you smoking when you were talking about this jacking thing?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Maybe before, maybe after. Who knows?
okay, and then how long did you stay at his house on that day?
I'm not even sure.
Okay,
Maybe an hour, maybe an hour and a half.
did Joel or Chris come over that day?
No,
All right, when was the next time you went over to Scott's house?
I'm not sure.
And what was the purpose of going over to Scott's house the second time?
First, second, third, it's because we are friends. I go over there periodically.
Smoke.
Maybe we did, maybe we didn't.
Okay, and the second time you went there, did you bring up the subject about Kevin wanting to jack you?
I'm not sure.
All right, well, did you see Joel over there?
He's been over there before.
No, I said, listen to my question. Did you see him there that day, the second time?
I'm not sure. He was over there maybe 1 or 2 of the times I was over there.
And first time or the second time or the third time?
I'm not sure.
Well, was he there the first time?
I have no clue.
You were there, right?
See, when you are saying first, second, and third time,
Yeah.
you know, I am not sure if I was over there a couple times. I was over there 3 times. I'm not sure if he was there or not. I didn't mark down a list and put it in my pocket.
Well, then was he there or wasn't he there? Just try and tell us.
I'm not sure. He was there in the past when I was out there. We hung out a little, smoked a little weed, like I say, and that's it.
Okay, but I'm talking about the time you learned the information about Kevin wanting to jack you,
Uh-huh.
and you go over to Scott's house and you guys hang together and you talk about this jacking,
Yes.
right? That's pretty significant information. I mean,
Now you are asking.
time in your life.
You are asking, was he there?
Yeah,
No,
he was not there.
not that I remember.
And you didn't talk to him about, if he wasn't there, he couldn't have brought up the subject about guns, could he?
Yeah, exactly.
And he never brought up any subject about guns to you, right?
Not to me.
And so if someone said that you were there, that Joel was there when you and Scott were discussing guns, that person is mistaken, right?
Well, me and Scott were never discussing guns, so.
Okay, and you didn't know Joel that well when you told the police you didn't know Joel that well. You would never have discussed your personal business in front of him, right?
Exactly.
And so if Scott said that Joel was there, he's mistaken, right?
Yep.
Or he's out of his mind because of dope, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
Or he's not recalling events properly, correct?
Yep, exactly.
Or he's just a flat liar, right?
I wouldn't say that.
Well, like I imagined somebody is there during a conversation. That person is not there. He's got to be one of the 3 that I just mentioned, right? A liar, out of his mind on dope, or mistaken, right?
Yep,
Okay.
pretty sure he was just mistaken.
Well, does Scott do that though? Does he, after he smoked dope, marijuana, or laces it with something? Well, when he smokes, does he have a tendency of kind of remembering things that didn't occur?
No, not that I know of.
This certainly didn't occur where Joel was there talking about guns, right?
Not to me.
Okay, now you went over to Scott's house or when he called you and he seemed afraid, you went over there to comfort him, sort of speak, right?
Somewhat.
Because your buddy was afraid. Was he crying?
No.
Did he ever cry in front of you?
No, not at the time.
Okay, well, anytime did he cry?
Nope.
Because he is not the kind of guy that cries, right?
I am not sure.
You've never seen him cry?
Yeah, I've never seen him cry not over that. When his dad died, that's about it.
Okay, but you were concerned about being involved in this thing, right?
I wasn't concerned about being involved because I knew I wasn't.
Well, but you knew that if it got out that you had knowledge that Kevin wanted to jack you, i.e. rob you, hurt you, take your stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
That could be a problem for you, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Also, that if you had met with Scott and you talked about kind of like a preemptive strike, hit him before he hit you, that could be a problem, right?
I wasn't too concerned about that because, like I say, that was the end of that. That was never a plan in my head. Okay.
Sticky. Oh, this jacking.
Jacking. I don't think it talks about that in that tape material that's from this. Okay, so we are stopping our warm-up.